Welcome back. On the AFEX Commodities Exchange, the total value of a number of contracts traded declined in the week of May 18th to 24th, while there was an uptick in the number of deals and on the AFEX Commodities Index. For more now, let's hear from Michael Martin, Portfolio Manager at AFEX. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Ladi. Good morning. Thank you for having me once again.
Good morning. Great to have you. Could you take us through the week's activities?
Of course. So if you look at the table in front of you, the total value of transactions traded on the exchange fell by 97.67% from around 0.43 billion naira to close the trading week at 0.01 billion naira. The total number of contracts traded on the exchange also fell by 97.49% from 21,363 contracts to close at just 537 contracts. The total number of deals, however, went up by 100% from 7 deals to close the trading week at 14 deals. The AFEX Commodities Index, which is the ACI, went up slightly by 3.31% from 386.27 to close the trading week at 399.07. The AFEX Export Index still remains unchanged, remaining at 146.57. And as regards the volume of transactions executed on the exchange, we generally saw a fall in the number of in the volume of transactions on the exchange, with the only exceptions being paddy rice, which went up from 0 number of contracts to 80 contracts for the week under review, and then also cashew, which went up from 8 contracts to 127 contracts in the week under consideration. With regards to the price changes on the exchange, we saw a significant increase in the price of paddy rice, which went up by 15.40%. Gaining 2,895 naira per contract to close the trading week at 21,695 naira. We also saw an increase in the price of cashew nut, which went up by 3.37%, gaining 1,450 naira in the contract value to close the trading week at 44,500 naira per contract. And last but not least, with regards to top gainers, we saw maize go up slightly by 0.84%, gaining 162 naira in the contract value to close the trading week at 19,362 naira per contract. And last but not least, we have the fair trade exchange traded commodity, which remained unchanged in the week under review, remaining at 14,008 naira per contract. And as we always say, if you want to know more about the commodities market, you can always go to our website, which is www.afexnigeria.com. And also, if you want to get started trading commodities, whether it's maize or soybean or paddy rice that you want to buy, or you want to buy fixed income note, you can always download our app, which is available on iOS and Android.
Yeah, Michael, thanks for taking us through those activities there. Now, AFEX Commodities Exchange is arguably one of the most successful exchanges in Africa. What are some of the key infrastructure that you put in place for the exchange model to work?
So at the outset, one of the first few things that we figured out that it was impossible for you to act as an exchange, particularly within the Nigerian market, without the ability to guarantee the supply of commodities. So when we saw this problem, we deemed it necessary to create an infrastructure, right, that would facilitate a last mile interaction with smallholder farmers, and this is with regards to production. But even beyond that, our ability to play across every single value chain, so that's from production to aggregation to storage, to distribution and eventual delivery to the buyer, and also even more than that, providing financing for every single player, whether that's the smallholder farmer or even the processor, I believe is what differentiates us from every other exchange that currently exists. So it is possible that you find other entities that may be able to provide some of these services better than we do. But you can never find, or you can't find any other entity that provides all of these services in one place. So when you think about AFEX, you think about us being the reference point for commodities in Africa, and you think about us being essentially the everything store, the Amazon of commodities in Africa. So I believe that's largely all of what separates us from every other exchange that currently exists, our ability to play across every single value chain that exists in the commodities ecosystem.
All right, Michael, as long as you're making me money. But aside from the existing spot and fixed income contracts, traded on the exchange, how close is the exchange to, listing other alternative commodity products?
Thank you for that question. So some of the things that we've already done this year is we've sort of expanded our product line. And that's with us listing cashew, which you're well aware, in the month of March, and also providing sesame in the OTC market. But in recent time too, we have been in conversation with certain other third-party entities that could also provide alternative commodities for us to trade on the exchange. And I'm talking about that. What I'm talking about is regards to the MOU that we signed last year with the Dubai Gold and Commodities Exchange. And that's a conversation that could eventually lead to us leading gold as a commodity that is tradable on the exchange. And we're also doing extensive research into the energy market and looking to design products that will be, that could essentially help that ecosystem and would also provide an avenue for people to trade those particular commodities. But to truly answer your question, I think that we're pretty ridiculously close to listing alternative products on the exchange. I would say that before the end of this year, you're going to see something that will make you smile, and that could potentially make you money, laddie.
We're looking forward to that. I mean, particularly the money part. Thank you very much, Michael. Well, we're still going to be talking about the input financing program. Well, that is an initiative that unlocks financing from retail and institutional sources for the production activities of smallholder farmers, created to align with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 1, 8, and 12, no poverty, zero hunger, and decent work and economic growth. The program has scaled due to AFEX's proprietary advanced technology, expanded outreach and warehouse infrastructure, and product innovation. Let's hear more about this from Kamaldeen Raji, the Managing Director, AFEX Fair Trade Limited. Thank you very much, Mr. Raji, for joining us. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So AFEX has,
over the
yes,
years,
AFEX has been carrying out input disbursement to smallholder farmers for the past 5 years. How did that initiative come about, and how has AFEX carried this out so far?
Thank you so much. Let me be a bit historic on this question, because in Nigeria, we have a very different climate. And every other exchange, like in any part of the world, we just jump up and start doing exchange. But in Nigeria, there's nothing on the table to be exchanged. So from the inception, FS needs to go back to the farmland, go meet the farmers who are the primary producers of whatever is going to be exchanged as an commodity exchange. And we need to do this by making sure that the 3 or 4 major things that are needed by farmers to be able to go back to the farm are provided for them. Number 1 is finance. Number 2 is input. Number 3 is storage. And the last one is access to market. So providing them with all these has really helped us to start the right way. So what we did with the farmer was we verified, profiled them, and put them on our platform, so that whoever we are working with can be accessed anywhere in the world. We know their farm, we registered them, we know their community, we did the legitimization process with the community heads. And from there, we were able to meet up with their demand for production. So after production, we linked them to the closest warehouse, just like a vision by our forefather that nobody should travel a very long distance before he or she could access education. But in this case, we conceive it on our own that nobody should travel anywhere far away from before they could access storage or access to market as farmer. So with this, we link them to input at the right time. And when I say the right time, that is as soon as the rain sets in. Some days back now, we started disbursing input to farmers so that they can start the season on a very good note. And this means that the farmers are ready for production again. So over the years, we have been doing this to farmers. We follow up with the outreach program that we used to engage them. This is the education arm of the old scheme. That is, teach the farmers, bridge the gap between the farmers and innovation. They get the right education on best agronomic practices and other things that are needed on the farm. They have the right access to input, like a crop protection product that can help them maximize their production. And this has really led to increase in yield for all our farmers. And all our farmers have been able to be moved up. And nobody's thinking of running to anywhere in the world, or running to any urban settlement in Nigeria, because the value of whatever they are producing is appreciated. We link them direct to the processors who are in need of all this product. And with this, there's no third party, there's no intermediary, which means the farmers are encouraged to go back to the farm because they know the value of whatever they are producing. is appreciated, and the price in money can
All right,
always
Mr.
move
Raji.
up. So this has really helped us over the years.
Okay, Mr. Raji, but AFEX recently had a cocoa flag-off event in Osun State to kick off input disbursement to about 2,000 cocoa farmers. Can you tell us more about that program and other plans for cocoa?
So thank you, Ladi, for that question. Recently, AFEX had a program in the Southwest, and that is about the cocoa flag-off. Because a lot of people had the misconception that AFEX is limited to the northern part of Nigeria, because that's where primarily the production of grains start from. But you know, cocoa being a major foreign earner for Nigeria, and in the process of diversifying the economy into agriculture and some other through agriculture and some other things. So we have old plants, old crops in the cocoa region, and what we did with the farmer was that, okay, let us make sure that your old crops, old trees are still getting you the right yield. And from there, we can support you to get the new seedlings to be able to meet up with the demand of these years. And that is to say, before now, we worked with less than 500 farmers in the cocoa region. But now we are moving to 2,000 to show that, okay, we are ready to take that big leap and be able to affect life positively. And that is to show to the world that farmers can contribute immensely to the growth in whatever, in a very good dimension. The GDP, will be positively affected, and that means we are ready to show to the world that agriculture is a bigger foreign earner. And apart from that, other things that are in the pipeline is that AFEX is working this year to ensure that we take a big jump from what we did last year, which is 35,000 farmers, to not less than 200,000 farmers this year. And that is to show that there will be continuous production during the wet season and at the same time during the dry season, all across board for major crops that are storable, not perishable goods, but major crops that are storable across our operation locations.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Raji, for your time there. Kamaldeen Raji is the Managing Director, AFEX Fair Trade Limited.